I'm also live in my Zoom room. If you would like to join us, you can click the link in my bio and go to the Drawing with Dylan link. And so I'm on TikTok, I'm in Zoom, and I'm streaming on YouTube at the same time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, if it'll all work out together. Art by Veritas is there on TikTok. Awesome. Nice to have you there. And here are my guests over in Zoom. Nice to have you all here as well. And let's just start this. Hello, Rosa is here. Awesome. Yeah, let's just get set up. I'm going to put my phone over here. And I hope I can zoom in as I'm streaming. Yeah, cool. So here is the reference we'll be working from. For everyone who's over there in Zoom, if you want, you can open up either TikTok or hi Rosa. You can open up TikTok or YouTube to see what's on my workspace. And anyone who's on TikTok can click on the link in my bio to join us in the Zoom room as well. So I'm multitasking like I never have before. So hopefully this is all going to work out. And I have people here to chat with me in the Zoom room if anyone has any questions. And if you have any questions, Daitsin, that's me, Yoshi. You can open my YouTube. Are you subscribed to me there? If Dylan Sara, Dylan Sara, and there's a lot of Bob Dylan stuff on there, but you should be able to find Dylan Sara art maybe, or if you look up Drawing with Dylan, you'll find me there too. So Dateson knows this face. Yes, you're friends, right? Saia is here. That's awesome. So Saia won my giveaway on TikTok. So I reached my first 1,000 subscribers, and to celebrate did a giveaway, and Saia won. So we're going to do a watercolor portrait of Saia here, and I will be working with watercolor like I have been in the 30 Faces 30 Days challenge. And I'm not going to be working from this little printout. That's just so you can see it on the screen. I want to get my iPad over here. So I'm usually set up with my iPad next to me as reference. I have a bunch of brushes here. I have all synthetic watercolor brushes. And I have some water to drink, and some water to dip my paintbrushes in. And I think I'm good to go. I'm going to be starting the drawing with a Pitt oil-based pencil. For those in Zoom, if you're not familiar with these, they're really cool for watercolor because they're oil-based pencils, so it's water resistant. So you can do your drawing and then paint over it, and the line work stays preserved, which is really cool. So yeah, these are. I'm a big fan of line work. I like being able to see the original drawing all the way through. And like just to have the history visible at the end. Presuming my drawing goes well, then it's nice to be able to see it at the end as well. So this is the pencil I'll be using. Have a bunch of brushes. I'm not sure which ones I'll use yet. We'll just find out. If anyone has any questions at any time, please ask. Hey, I can hear myself somewhere. Okay. It should be up there, I think. So yeah, so if you go into my channel on YouTube, I think you should be able to see that there's a current live stream. I hope you can. But otherwise, yeah. Let's get into drawing. Does anyone else have the YouTube live stream open? You do? And you found it? Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Roseanne. So Roseanne found it. It's great to have you all here for support. It's nice because I've found in the past when I do live streams, it's just like I'm talking to myself, and it's nice to have you here to talk to. It's really cool. So thank you very much for joining me. yeah, so I can put my paints away for now because I want to start this drawing. And the preliminary drawing, this is something that I practice a lot. Every Tuesday I host a live sketch session, so I'll be starting with a fairly loose sketch, and I've got my reference right next to the paper. This is a Hahnemuhle 200 GSM watercolor sketchbook. It warps a bit, but that's okay. I also have a hairdryer with me so I can speed up the drying process. Hi Klaus, welcome to Zoom. Yeah, and hello everyone on TikTok. It's so nice to have you there as well. And now I'm gonna start drawing. So yeah, I usually line up my reference next to the paper, and the nice thing about I actually open it in Procreate, and the way you can change the scale is really useful, which you can't do in the native photo app on here. But then I can make it about the size I want to have it on the paper, which helps transferring from the paper to get your reference, the drawing on the paper. It's really helpful to have it right next to it. Yeah, Rosa, thank you. It is a great image. Thank you so much, Saya. It's very cool. It's I had this immediate Ghost in the Shell anime connection, and Saya said it was a cyberpunk kind of reference. Filter, right? So I'm gonna start by getting the outline of the face, and I'm constantly looking from my reference, which is just off screen here, looking there and just trying to match up my movement with what I'm seeing and where I'm putting it on the paper. So kind of got this line going down to here, and then it changes direction. And I will hopefully not be doing too much erasing, correcting, but if you do have to, that's fine. You do what you got to do. But this is, yeah, something I practice every Tuesday, quick sketches, and I find it super useful when laying down the drawing for a watercolor painting or an ink portrait or anything. To have the drawing sorted out pretty quickly is really cool. Because that's something I used to struggle with a lot in the past, that I would spend a long time trying to... Clutter Monster is in the chat on YouTube. That's cool. Hello. So yeah, I used to spend a lot of time trying to get my drawing figured out, and sometimes would take days just trying to get the drawing before I was ready to paint on it. And having practiced quick sketching a lot has made that whole process a lot quicker. And I don't kind of suffer as much because in the beginning I would spend a long time trying to sort out my drawing before I started painting, and then after spending so long drawing on, think, oh no, I hope I don't ruin the painting, and sometimes it was quite a painful process. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, the feeling that you're afraid to ruin your work. I have heard some people have also shared that experience. So I was thinking now for this portrait session, I'm thinking I'm probably going to take about an hour. Clutter Monster is also in the TikTok chat. That's awesome. I will be using watercolor today, since following on from all of the 30 Faces, 30 Days portraits. And I feel like I'm in the watercolor zone at the moment. So I will be using watercolor. And I just mentioned earlier that this is an oil-based pencil, which is awesome for watercolor because I like to see the line work. I don't want it smudged, and I also don't want to erase it. I'm happy for it, like a historical record of the drawing process. So it's really cool. And if you've got a certain kind of stylized feel to your drawing as well, then I think it can be really nice for it to kind of shine through the paint. Any questions, anyone? Otherwise, I'll just kind of ramble on until someone has a question. This is extra soft. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I like working with, also when I'm working with graphite, I really like soft drawing tools. I like them to be dark, to really get a lot of pigment on the paper. I guess I think I've done most of my work in recent years with ink. So I like to draw with something which really helps me commit to my line making. And I think using soft and dark drawing tools, drawing with ink or with soft pencils, you really have to, especially oil-based, because you can't erase them very well. So it's similar to working with ink in a way. You need to commit to the marks that you make. And if you've done any of my ink classes or seen other videos, then you may have heard that, or from other artists as well, like this thing of making a line, committing to it, and then there's not a lot of editing that you can do. And it's just such a really great way to learn. It's a great teacher because you really have to make conscious marks as you're drawing. Silesh is here too. Awesome. Oh, it's so nice to have people in the chat. That's great. Thank you everyone for being here. Just excuse me for a moment while I read the chat. Hang on, if I go back over here, I'll be able to see it. So I've got my phone up here, just in case you're wondering about my setup. My phone is here on a tripod. I've got my computer over here, which I'm like also streaming through YouTube on and have my Zoom room open. I have the reference up in Zoom. And yeah, so I've got screen mirroring of the phone on the computer, and then I can read what you're saying. Trust the process. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so cool to have you two here, to have you here as well, Saia. And if you haven't noticed, we're working from the image which is Saia's profile picture on TikTok. Sketch digitally and transfer it. Yeah, that's there's so many cool ways of getting that initial drawing sorted. Anyone who's watching on TikTok or YouTube, it's a bit trickier from YouTube. Oh no, it's not. You can also join the Zoom room where I've got the reference up, and there's this concentrated, focused group of people drawing along with me in Zoom. So on YouTube, at the bottom in the description, there is a link to Zoom. And in TikTok, if you follow the link in my bio, you'll be able to get into the Zoom room as well. And Rosa, part of the reason I'm doing it on YouTube as well is because it'll be recording and replayable on YouTube. So TikTok lives do not instantly publish to your feed, and you can only have 10-minute videos on TikTok. So I am, thank you, Klatomos, superstar broadcaster. I wasn't sure how this is going to work out, but it feels good. Things are working. TikTok, Zoom, and YouTube all at the same time. So yeah, the recording will be available on YouTube once this is finished. How is my computer not exploding? Good question. I'm glad it's not. And that was a great question. Something I like to ask in live streams as well is, where is everyone from? Where is everyone? Rosanna's in Maine. Seattle. I can answer for the people that are in Zoom. Hans is in Switzerland. Meryl is in Texas. Hi, y'all. Klaus is in Austria. I am in central Germany. And in the TikTok chat, where are people at? Where are you from? Or YouTube? You can also answer on YouTube. This is fun. Ah, okay, cool, yeah. So Silash has moved from TikTok to YouTube. So anyone who's here for the pure TikTok experience, if you go over and find me on YouTube, Dylan Sara, the spontaneous TikTok giveaway live stream, you'll be able to see the reference and the TikTok feed at the same time. This is really interesting in this reference. So I'm a big fan of just drawing things the way they are and drawing from observation. But there are things in this filter which are creating like unrealistic lighting situations. Like there's this highlight over here where it could be a shadow, but like normally there'd be a highlight on this side of the face as well. So there's some strange things happening in the lighting, which makes it interesting as well. Yeah. There was just an observation that there's probably these little things included in the filter which create this otherworldly cyberpunk look, which make it pretty unnatural kind of lighting situation. But I guess that's part of what's making it look really interesting. Silash is in the UK. Deborah is from San Francisco. Awesome. And what languages does everyone speak? That's a good question too. Saia is in Germany. Jana Art is in Oregon. Cloudermonster, New Jersey, USA. So yeah, there's why am I using all these German art supplies? Yeah, I live in Germany. I'm from Australia, but I've been living in Germany since 2007, apart from 2 years in which I was living in Australia. I met my wife in 2007 and moved in 2 weeks later and I've pretty much been living here since then. And coincidentally, the paper that I'm working on, Hahnemühle paper, Hahnemühle is based in Dassel, which I think is just like a 40-minute drive from Göttingen, where I live. I've not been to the paper factory, but maybe someday. I think it would be interesting. Tamara's in California. Hey, Josiah's here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's so nice to have connected to these people. My TikTok experience is fairly fresh. I think in January I started TikToking. And yeah, there are a couple of people here in the TikTok chat who've become art friends on TikTok, which is super nice. And nice to have Drawing with Dylan people here as well. So for those who don't already know, every Tuesday we meet via Zoom. And you can follow the Zoom link in my bio. You can even do that now because there are people sketching in my Zoom room right now. Every Tuesday we meet and we do timed portrait sketches between 30 seconds and 6 minutes, and we sketch for 2 hours. And we've been doing that since March 2020, every Tuesday. And I have learnt so much. I really notice it in my drawing practice that those Tuesday sessions have helped me so much. Especially in this stage, like getting a quick drawing figured out before a painting. Yeah, that would be a fun live stream, a tour of a paper factory. I wonder maybe one day I could figure something out with Hahnemühle since they're so close to here. Maybe I could do a Hahnemühle live stream. Um, so what I have set up on the paper at the moment is almost enough for me to start painting on. There are a lot of shapes, and that's the way I like to look at things, or the way it helps me to understand what I'm drawing and painting. It may be a little confusing at the moment, but when I look at this next to the reference, I've got the reference here. Oh wow, putting that in there drastically changes the exposure. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. So I'll just quickly show you this. So here I have this idea that this is a highlight here, this is a highlight. There are a few shapes that I have drawn in here, which are my highlights. Hit this one. And so I've just drawn these little shapes which are going to help me as I'm painting to avoid that space so I can preserve it as a highlight. And then I have shapes which I have set up which I know are going to be darker shapes. And so without putting too much detail into the drawing, I think it's called shadow mapping. I've got these shadow shapes and light shapes sorted out. Also there's this unusual and cool highlight on the lip there. Also in this, the seams of the face, there are a couple of odd highlights, really cool. And there's something up here in the darkness which is a highlight as well. Very unusual, but let's go with it. So yeah, that's what I aim to do with my drawing here, is to get that shadow map set up. And if you need longer to work on the drawing, that's fine. You just keep doing it at your pace, and you'll be able to rewatch this on YouTube if you want. I just noticed I've kind of there are some angles of the face. I've kind of stretched things out a bit. It's a bit inconsistent with the reference, but that's fine. Here I'm able to go in a bit, change the angle a little bit. But that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's pretty, after 2 years of weekly quick sketch practice, I feel like I'm able to get a fairly accurate drawing kind of fast. Someone else is trying to get into Zoom. There we go. But this is like after years of constant practice. So I can hear myself through someone's speakers over there. If you're able to mute it, because I guess you must be hearing me twice too. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Yeah, go grab your paints and join us painting. Okay, Art by Veritas. You could also, if TikTok keeps freezing, you can also go to my YouTube channel. But if you're in Zoom now, yes, you are. You just got into Zoom, so that's cool. Nice to have you here. And anyone who's on YouTube or TikTok can hit the like and heart button. You can put hearts all over the place, and that would be nice. And maybe then this portrait session will be brought to the attention of some other people who may enjoy it too. So these are like somehow like algorithm things that when the chat is active and when people are liking it, putting in hearts and thumbs up and stuff like that, then I think somehow the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram algorithms then kind of push it out to other people potentially as well. All right, I'm gonna take a photo of that drawing. So this is something I also do, and you may have noticed on my, if you follow me on Instagram, that throughout the process I take work in progress shots. So I have the iPad next to the reference, and then when the drawing's done, I snap a photo of that, and then at different stages I'll take a photo just to kind of document the process. And I know stuff like that has been super helpful for me in the past, like learning how to... Salish says that he's spammed likes before leaving TikTok. Awesome. Thank you for those hearts, spam hearts. Does anyone have any questions right now before I start painting? Is anyone else ready to paint yet? You can take your time. If you're not, that's fine. Everyone go at your own pace. I want you all to feel safe and comfortable here. Maybe get a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but that's always a good place to be learning from. But I want you to have a good time with me. It's really interesting over on Zoom. You're all super focused. It's very different to the Tuesday sessions. They can get pretty rowdy. So for anyone who's watching just on TikTok or YouTube, you can also join me in Zoom and paint together with a bunch of wonderful painting people. I'm just kind of wondering now, it'd be cool to do an underpainting. Yeah, so I've if you're in Zoom, you'll see me. I'm screen sharing the reference. Jana's already painting. Awesome. What a disaster. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying my art and my vibes. Thanks for the love. I'm going to do a yellow ochre underpainting and then layer up. I don't see much yellow ochre in here, but it's just to take the paper like a level away from the paper tone, it's a toned paper, which is really cool. But I was wondering, I don't know, blue. There's cool blue in the eyes, magenta around the eyes. I have been learning a lot this month in 30 Faces, 30 Days, following along with the process of other artists, people who have done a lot more watercolor than me. It's been super interesting. So here I have like different kinds of watercolors. I have these tubes, I have dry pans, and I just different colors that I have bought different places over the years. So I want this layer to be pretty light. I've got clean water, clean brush. I cleaned all my brushes before this. I can hear myself on Zoom, which is a little bit distracting, so I'll be able to see who that is and maybe mute you. Talking. Or have you already muted? Oh no, I can't see who it is. Maybe it's Suzanne's. Okay, I'm going to mute you, Suzanne. Okay, yeah, now I can't hear myself. If you want to ask a question, unmute and talk. I'm super happy for everyone in Zoom to be talking and asking questions and stuff. That'd be awesome. So if you have something to say, feel free to unmute and ask or comment. Jana's using avocado ink. Awesome. Yeah, so my thing, more than watercolor, is ink, and particularly natural ink. So I love that you are using avocado ink. I have an avocado ink making tutorial on YouTube as well for anyone who's interested. At the moment I am wetting the areas where I'm going to put this first wash into, and just keeping the highlights dry so that the paint won't flow into where I want the highlights. And so the paper's going to start to warp a bit now, and I'm not going to it doesn't matter too much about the hair. I'm not going to go into the hair space yet. I'm going to keep it in the face area. But anywhere where I've drawn a shape where I want to keep a highlight, I'm going to work around that. So there's this big one over in the cheek here, and the rest of the face, wherever there's not a highlight, I just want it to be nice and wet. Apart from the blue of the eyes, maybe. If we keep that dry and then make it blue and everything else is yellow underpainting, that's going to be like really, it'll be more blue. What a disaster. How long have I been painting? I'm 39, and when I was 28, I had a midlife crisis, which I was like directionless and wondering, what am I going to do with my life? Which led to my wife asking me, what do you want to do? It's like, oh, I want to do fantasy illustration, which I didn't end up doing, but that set me on the path of painting. So since it's been like 11 years now that I have really been focused on improving my drawing and painting. And I traveled a lot beforehand. I was traveling around Europe. I'm originally from Australia. So there's not much happening here. You just see me painting the paper with water. I'll start putting some paint in now. So it looks like something other than just water on paper. Yeah, so I guess it's been like 11 years now that I've been focused on improving my art. So the phase, this yellow ochre is just like so warm compared to the reference image. Everything is so cool, but that's all right. It's right now with no other paint on the paper. It just looks like, to me at the moment, I'm thinking this looks super intense. But as we layer up more colors, it's not going to be that intense. Having this layer underneath of a particular color. Last night I did one which had a blue underpainting. It has a way of kind of unifying the colors that come on top of it. And if you're using complementary or contrasting colors on top of it, it also can accentuate them or kind of mute them, which can be a really interesting effect. And having this underpainting just kind of helps figure out what's going on with the value structure. This is very different than like working straight to ink, because you can do ink washes and to have a subtle approach, but if you're working with black ink, then you don't have the luxury of experimenting with the value structure. But there's something nice with watercolor that you can put in this light layer, which helps you figure out where you're going to commit to darkening things up a bit, or what you're going to leave light. And something I really like with ink wash and with watercolor is layering things. So really, I think the end result can be really nice, and it's a longer process than just like instantly black with ink, but the subtlety that you can achieve with layering it's really cool. Aha! So Jana's starting with avocado ink and is going to follow up with watercolor and gouache. That's cool. Interesting question there from What a Disaster. Did you learn on your own? What made you get into watercolors the most? I'm not really most into watercolors, but at the moment there is a month-long watercolor class and challenge, which I'm also one of the teachers of. but watercolor was the first medium I started painting in. And then after experimenting with acrylic and oil, then I got into ink, and then making my own natural inks. So I'd say I'm most into natural ink, but this is a very similar process, like an ink wash. I feel like it's very, very related to watercolor painting. And I was wondering whether I would go to art school, and I didn't. I chose not to. But there's so many amazing places to learn online. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I also went to workshops. The illustration masterclass was a big one, and then I did a mentorship for 1.5 years with Rebecca Gay, and that was amazing. Like, instead of going to art school, it was a really personal art education experience, because we would meet once a week on Skype. Back in the day, I haven't used Skype for a long time, but we would have these Skype meetings, Rebecca and 6 of us, and we all got to know each other and our process and where we were at and what we needed to learn. So I really learned so much in that time, doing workshops and doing that weekly mentorship session. It was awesome. What a disaster. I'm super happy for you to ask as many questions as you want to. It's nice to have something to respond to. Otherwise, I'm just rambling and talking to myself. So please keep asking questions. It's great. So this is like my base layer now. I'll grab another work in progress shot of that. And it's still quite wet, so I was trying to like put a bit more pigment into the shadow spaces, but in some places it just bled out. But that's fine, because as I continue to dry things, it's gonna we'll layer it up, and we're just gonna add more on there anyway. I need a drink, and for those who are on YouTube and Zoom, you'll hear my hairdryer soon, so I can speed up the drying of the paper. Patrick is here too. Hallo Patrick, schön, dass du da bist. Yeah, everyone alle, die da bei Zoom sind und YouTube und TikTok, awesome to have you here. Yeah, Saya, who we are painting here, I think it's such a beautiful phase. So the comment was, it's amazing how that one first layer changes so much after the sketch. And I totally agree. There's like this, it's also part of what's interesting about getting the work in progress shots is this kind of formative transformation phase can be super, super interesting. If you check out my recent Instagram posts, on TikTok, I've actually been posting all over the place. But on TikTok, because it's video, you can see the time lapse of the painting. On Instagram, I've also posted the work in progress shots, and you can kind of swipe through and see the different stages of the painting. And it not a lot of this will be recognizable once it's finished. Oh wow, we've already been going for like 40 minutes. Wow. So yeah, not much of that will be recognizable, but now it's super helpful to, like, each layer that comes on, you can more confidently kind of make further decisions, and yeah, it's going to be really cool. Okay, you'll hear some. cool. Yes, it's such a pleasure. Thank you for playing along with my giveaway. I'm happy to be painting you. Um, and yeah, what a disaster. There's so much opportunity to learn online. I think the experience of going to art school, I imagine, I studied architecture, which I didn't end up working in, but that the community, I think, is such an important aspect. That's what I imagine you would get out of going to like art school. Just being with other people who have a shared interest and passion. But that's also now possible on online. Like I host weekly sketch sessions, so if you want, you can come and join me every Tuesday. We sketch for 2 hours together, which is awesome sketching practice. Yeah, and there's so much. So there are online classes and there are YouTube tutorials. There's really a lot available. And as you start to discover kind of what you want to focus on and what you're interested in, yeah, there's so much you can find online. Hello, Ana Maria Lopez del Carpio. Oh, there. That's a pre-recorded video is up in the Zoom. That's interesting. Is it a pre-recorded video? In shot. Okay. I'll turn that off. This is the first time I've had to kick someone out. But that is definitely like a spam bot thing. Okay, bye-bye. All right. I wondered if having that like open invitation thing may invite something spammy. Okay, so now I'm gonna put in the next layer. I want it to have a bit of magenta in it. I have these, I've got some magenta, and I think this is like burnt umber over here. I often just I've got this palette, and I have areas where I have like warm colors, and I really like magenta for some reason. So I have these colors, they're like go-to colors, and I'll mix them together. And sometimes if I want like a muted grayish color, I just kind of mix it all together. But yeah, I'm gonna go for this magenta burnt umber mix here and start layering in some areas. That's super interesting. In 2 years of Zooming, I've never had any kind of spam bot things enter the chat, but there's a first for everything. Hopefully it's not like Pandora's box. Otherwise I'll have to start having specific links for specific events. Yeah, what a disaster. Do you have another game another name that I can refer to you by? I'm happy to call you What a Disaster all the time, but we meet on Zoom. So yeah, the weekly sketch sessions are on Zoom, and it's open to everyone. It's super fun. It's a lot of practice. A lot of practice and a great community, and just the regular practice it's been so good for me, and it's been really awesome. Like even if it wasn't, pandemic times, it's just really cool getting together and drawing together. But it actually started. I was hosting real world events, and then as soon as lockdown happened in Germany, then 1 week we met together in the real world, and the next week we met on Zoom. So yeah, now with the painting, I'm going around to all the areas where it's darker and just starting to build up these layers, the shadow layers, and I'll water it down a bit, and also push this around a bit more. I like working with flat brushes. I also like flat drawing tools in general. Hi Daria. Cam. Cam is a good name. I have a cousin, Cam, who I mostly spent time with when we were kids, and Cam was just an excellent person. I'm sure you are too. I also knew a dog called Cam. It was also a nice dog. So yeah, this is with natural inks I tend to work with warm colors a lot, and I'm having the idea now that it could be cool. Like my face here is with these colors I've chosen is it's going to be they're very warm at the moment. And I think it could contrast really awesomely to have really like cool dark hair surrounding it everywhere. So like a purple dark blue thing happening would be a cool contrast to the warmth of the face. I briefly wondered about doing a magenta kind of underpainting, which would have been very different to the yellow ochre that I went for. Rosa says that the stream looks better on YouTube. That's cool. Yeah, YouTube's got a nice setup because you can see the reference at the same time. You can see me, but also, yeah. How's the resolution of the image on YouTube compared to on TikTok? If anyone is on both at the same time, that would be interesting to know. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. After just talking about that warm, cool contrast, I now feel really compelled to fill in the space around here, which is going to be a really interesting transformation. Like if you think back to the initial line drawing, it's so interesting the way things develop. Okay, I'll leave that for now. Take another work in progress shot. And now I'm going to wet all of the area surrounding the face. I hope. Oh, maybe I'll put the hairdryer back on because I don't want I want a clear edge around the face, even though it has a really soft edge. But I don't want the dark, cool colors to like bloom into the face. So I'm just going to go around and dry the edges there. All right. I have 2 jars of water. The jars are actually like ridiculously big. It's just what I happen to have around. I use these big jars for ink making, but I wanted the 2 jars, so one can be for cooler colors and one for warmer colors. So doing this big, like wetting the paper all over the place, it's going to make it warp. Because in a sketchbook, it's 200 gram. That must be about 90 pound, maybe not. 90 pound paper, I think. And because it's not stuck down to anything, it's just in a sketchbook. So if you get it really wet, it's obviously going to start warping. But sometimes, like when I use inks, I like a bit of warping to the paper. How it just kind of like makes the ink flow in ways I wouldn't expect, and I like the mix of a highly controlled drawing and painting process and then just letting things happen. And so that's interesting to some extent when the paper warps. If it's just all too uncontrollable and wild, that can be pretty annoying. But O'Shea art, you miss what the darker color is. The darker color here, so I started with yellow ochre, and then I did a mix of burnt umber and magenta, and that's what I mixed these two, burnt umber and magenta, and that's what the darker color is. And now I'm going to grab some colors over here. I don't actually know exactly what they are. I could pop them out and read them, but I just kind of mix them around. I learned that from Greece. Anyone who knows Greece, just seeing the way he just kind of run the paintbrush all the way through his paint palette. That was so liberating when I saw that. It's just like, I want something kind of dark and blue, so I just kind of now grab something dark and blue and put some of that over here, and grab something dark, reddish, purpley, put that over here, and just kind of see what happens. For those who don't know, Greece is a prolific not YouTube, well, he's on YouTube as well, but Instagram live streamer. Does like a bunch of live streams every week, and prolific watercolor painter and street artist and hip-hop artist based in Berlin. So I want this to be quite a bit darker so I can really load up the brush with lots of whatever this is here. And I don't really care too much what the form is within the hair. That you can see it a bit in the reference, but it doesn't really matter. I just want a big dark shape, and I want a color contrast. What's everyone else working with if you're painting or drawing along? Jana mentioned. Hey, Julia. Avocado ink, watercolor and gouache. An awesome combination. So whether you're on Zoom, YouTube, or TikTok, if you're painting along, what are you using? Cool. Watercolor. Another watercolor. Are you also doing 30 Faces, 30 Days? Anyone else here doing that? Because that's, yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, those are fun. Yeah. Yeah. No? Yeah, those are like my favorite colored pencils. Derwent Inktense. Yeah, Inktense. So they are water soluble pencils that once they dry, they're permanent. So you can also layer up with them, and they also just have wonderful, really vibrant colors. It's very cool. Yeah, so am I. That's all right. Some people, I think, and Kenyo sketched it last year. I went hard last year. I was really at it every day. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Last year, I was drawing in the dark as I was putting my kids to sleep, um, and I was doing Ben Meredith's prompts like every day, and where is it? I had this fat little sketchbook that had hundreds of pages in it. I was like, okay, I've got to fill this in a month. That was it was intense, but it was awesome. Yes, yes. Thank you for letting me know. Cool. Oil pastels, yeah, that's awesome too. Yeah, and Jana's doing Let's Face It 2022. I'm teaching in that too. Um, Rosa's doing 30 Faces, 30 Days. That's been great to see. Um, yeah, so many great lessons on there. Um, it's super fun to be a teacher and these things, and it's really cool following along with the lessons, the ones that I can manage to. I'm not able to watch them all, but just this month I've learnt so much from the other artists there, and it'll be interesting to see when I return back to natural inks, how much of what I've learnt in watercolor will kind of inform that process as well. Well, now that this is all so dark, this looks wild. Like now I can really kind of confidently go in and darken up more areas of the face. But this like contrast is just kind of super strong at the moment. A bit intense. All right. It's good to have a piece of paper on the side somewhere so you can kind of test things. It's good with watercolors. Like if you want clear, vibrant colors, it's important to clean your brush, and having like a warm and a cool water jar can be really helpful. Um, but at the moment, it's still quite a limited palette, so it's still safe. But I'm going to take some of that dark stuff and start taking it into the face as well, because establishing the darkest areas is going to be super helpful within the portrait here. But you need to be really careful with watercolor, because if you do something really dark and it's not properly dry, the way it can bleed out into the rest of the face. That's something that I've has caused me suffering in the past. But it's so good to have people to learn with and from, because I did a lot. Well, I think it's also super important and helpful to do things on your own. But a lot of the suffering I I did in the past trying to figure out some different mediums. If I'd had like a community to learn together with, I think some of that suffering may not have been necessary. But I guess it's important to go through. Are there, what are other people's kind of artistic interests and places where they learnt here? Like, do we have art school people here, or hobby, or anyone professionally doing artistic stuff? Yeah. hmm Do you feel like there's something you did get out of the school experience? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. hmm Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So for those who can't hear what I'm hearing, a few people are answering the question on Zoom. Um, Studying photography, also art school, but mostly abstract stuff, and or going to art school, but feeling that they learnt more about painting online than at art school. But yeah, there's just such a wealth of amazing courses and places to learn online. And Yana on TikTok is a professional, but always experimenting and learning. That's awesome. And Silesh over on YouTube says that life drawing has been the best but most intense thing I can do for my art. It's stressful, but I've learned a lot from doing it. Yeah, yeah. My Tuesday drawing sessions are modelled on the life drawing experience, but focused on portraiture. Because I learned a lot doing life drawing, which was something that Rebecca Gay, my anatomy was just all imagination and wrong for a long time. And I was doing this mentorship with Rebecca Gay, and it's like, oh, you really need to do some life drawing. You need to see some bodies, and you really need to practice life drawing. And there's great online possibilities for that. But I was hosting in our apartment before we had kids. I hosted live drawing where usually someone from my circle of friends would come and get undressed, and we'd paint them, and also share a meal and snacks, and they'd get dressed again, and it was a very cool thing to do. Where I live, at least back then, in Göttingen, was not much kind of visual representational art stuff going on. A lot of theatre and literature. Now I know more artists in Göttingen, but at that time it was very kind of lacking that visual art experience. So that was something I was able to offer. And before the pandemic happened, that was like my vision, was to kind of reinvigorate the visual art scene a bit with more social community stuff. Like the plan was to go to concerts and theatre and whatever was happening, basically, for me and my friends, just to appear and start drawing people. But that all has been put on hold, and the whole online thing now has just been great the past couple of years. All right, we're already like an hour in. This is taking longer than I thought, but that's all right. You're all welcome to stay as long as you like. There's no one to kick us out because they need the room after us. So another advantage to the online experience. Oh, and I wanted to share a few words from Sara, who we're painting at the moment. Just need to get over here. So Sara, I'll read it in German and try and translate to English as well. Ja, ich streame, zeichne hin und wieder, aber ob das auf Instagram, Say Arts, I tagged on Instagram. You can go check out a lot of the sketches there. I encourage you to get back into sketching and posting more. And Say freut sich. Ich freue mich bloß sehr, dass jemand anderes in seinem Stil ein Bild von mir umsetzt. Tatsächlich hat mich noch nie jemand gezeichnet oder gemalt. Es ist eine Ehre, eine Freude. Jetzt sind ganz viele Leute, die dich zeichnen und malen. So yes, Sara, who we're drawing, streams and draws occasionally. So you can also go check that out on Instagram, and is happy that someone is doing a portrait in their style, and that no one had ever painted or drawn Sara before, and now there's a bunch of people here working on your portrait. So it's nice to be able to draw you together with a bunch of nice people here. Yeah, O'Shea, definitely. Anyone who's here, anyone watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay on YouTube, you're very welcome to come and join us Tuesdays. It's super fun and excellent practice. It's a lot quicker than this. So this is for those of you in Zoom who are used to our Tuesday sessions. This is so different because it's really like taking time, just focusing on one portrait. It's a very different experience. Because the Tuesday sessions, it's mostly about learning to see and observing a lot, and just practicing with lots and lots of faces, which has just helped me immensely in my process and development of the way I work. And for those of you in Zoom, how is this for you? So yeah, Klaus is tired. How is this compared to the quick sketches that we normally do on Tuesdays? oder falls ihr Deutsch spricht, wie ist dieser Erlebnis? Es ist was ganz anderes, als was wir Dienstag immer machen. Ähm, äh, aber ich empfinde, dass die ganze Dienstagübung, insbesondere für der Anfangsphase, die sind für mich sehr hilfreich gewesen, um in relativ kurzer Zeit die erste Grundlage von einem Porträt festzulegen. Ursprünglich habe ich gedacht, die ganze Dienstag-Zeichnen, es ist die Übung für die längere Posen, aber es ist eigentlich fast mein Hauptding gewesen in die letzten 2 Jahren. Aber ich merke auf jeden Fall, wie ich mich entwickelt habe dadurch über die Jahre. Kiki Young just asked, said, "This is so awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Will I be doing this long version again?" I'm sure. I'm sure I will be. I kind of have a vision of doing a lot more live streaming. I also do. I have a monthly Patreon videos which I release. So you can check out my Patreon if you like. And there I do like a different themed thing every month using different materials and a different muse every month. But I'm also going to definitely be doing more streaming. It's something I've been wanting to. In 2020, I actually streamed every Sunday for half a year for Sketchy, not on my own channel. And I kind of thought I'd just keep doing it, but then for some reason I didn't really do much of it. So now I've like leveled up and I'm streaming on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. There's not heaps of people watching, but I value and appreciate each of you for being here and painting and drawing with me. It's just super nice to do it together. Yeah. Yeah, and so Meryl on Zoom just feeling this feeling of reaching a point where it's like, oh, do I want to keep going? Am I going to overwork something? I'm just wondering because I don't want to go on really, really long, because this has already been like over an hour that we've been working on this. But I'm wondering, is there something? So this is still pretty soft and subtle, which is nice. But are there maybe a few things I can do which is going to like make the portrait sing? And I think putting some like dark blue in the eyes or like a kind of maybe blue-green color, I think that'll be really cool. And a bit more, make the lips a bit redder, like not super red, not cadmium red, but maybe like a mix of, like here it's almost like this earth red color in the reference photo, which is really interesting. But we can use whatever colors we want really. Oh, cool. Dana is in Zoom too. So anyone who's on TikTok or YouTube watching this can also follow the link in my bio or on YouTube. It's in the description below. You can actually get into our Zoom as well. So I've got a bunch of people over here on Zoom who are drawing along. Atlas Art Therapy, thank you. I'm glad you like it. To Kiki asked if I'm going to be doing 30 Faces 30 Days again. I'm going to be finishing the portrait series. I'm actually not teaching another class this time around. So I just had the one class. So I kind of packed as much as I could into it. I made it three portraits in one class of the same face. Okay, what am I doing now? I want to get something a bit more vibrant. I've got this dark red magenta thing happening over here. This is maybe a mix of like cadmium and magenta or something. I don't always know what colors I'm working with. I just kind of grab something that I think is going to be fitting and go with it. But this looks nice. It's often so, like when you put the watercolor paint on wet, it's so vibrant. It looks so amazing. And often it dries, then you've got this more kind of matte look to it. I'm actually going to be teaching in, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Something else I'm allowed to talk about is there's something that's happening right now is Let's Face It, which is a year-long class, and I have two lessons that I'm doing for that, and one of them came out the day before my birthday in March. And there's a picture up on the wall behind me. If you're on YouTube or Zoom, you can see this picture here is the one I painted for that lesson. And I have another one, it's not coming out until November, but a painting that I did with natural inks that I really enjoyed a lot. So that'll be coming out soon. Oh no, just mention this is I have Buy Me a Coffee, and I'm happy for people to participate in this and watch and enjoy it without giving me anything. I appreciate your attention and company. But if you would like to buy me a coffee, there's a link in my bio, and you can buy me a coffee. We drink fair trade, organic, locally roasted coffee, which is very good. If anyone wants to come visit and have a coffee with me, just let me know. I live close to Göttingen in central Germany. And if anyone wants to support my coffee drinking, then you're very welcome to buy me a coffee. So see how this looks when it dries, but I really like this, the vibrancy of this pink that's coming in. These lines that are going all over the face, this Ghost in the Shell, robotic, cybernetic, cyberpunk thing all over the place. I'll be adding those at the end. I'll just kind of go along with some line work and put those on top. So I'm not worrying too much about that just now. But I can see the line work there. I'm aware of it, and I think it's gonna add something really cool when we finish up, just to put those shapes throughout the painting. Does anyone have any questions, anything in particular about process of this or other things, life? If not, that's totally fine. But this could be a good time to ask. Back to the long format live stream question. I've been thinking that would be really cool to do at least one live stream a month. And I did one last month, which was, it was like the Tuesday sketch session, except it was on YouTube. And I just had this idea to open up the Zoom room while doing a live stream yesterday. And although most of you are not talking, I can see you there painting, all super focused, and it's so cool to have you there. It's really nice. It adds a new dimension to this live stream experience to have people there. It's like you're in the room with me, painting with me. It's really nice. Yeah. Oh, awesome. That's cool. I'm glad to hear it. So yeah, the comment there was just that that when I do lessons, that I make it so accessible that it makes it easy to follow along with and actually paint. So usually you watch the lessons and then you'll paint afterwards. Is that what you mean? Yeah. So with my lessons, and I noticed that with 30 Faces, 30 Days this time, a lot of people starting with a finished drawing and then they start painting on it. And I want within the hour of your time that you're committing to the lesson for it to be within that space of time you're able to create something. Because I know it can be really difficult as well to find the time to do these things. So, but that's beautiful feedback. Thank you very much. I'm glad you experienced my lessons in that way. Okay, I want to add some cool color to the eyes. Hey, Steph. Steph just sent me a rose on TikTok. Anyone who wants to hit like, send roses and love hearts on TikTok, little thumbs up on YouTube, go for it. That's always nice. The eyes. So I have these. Oh, there's something over here. This is this cool, like it's this blue-green color. I'll just take a bit of that. There's a bit of a highlight in the eye, although it's actually quite dark. But since this portrait, my painting is nowhere near as dark as the reference, and I'm not going to spend the time on it now to get it there. So the eyes also don't need to be super dark. It's possible with watercolor to layer up and get incredibly dark and have a super broad range of contrast and stuff. But that's not what we're here for today. I was just wondering if Hans is still here. Hans is a baker and has to get up early in the morning to bake. And Hans is not in the Zoom room anymore, but it was really lovely having Hans with us. Steph just shared the live video on TikTok. I didn't even know you can do that. How do you share a live video? So the TikTok and TikTok Live is pretty new for me. I did like a test run last week where I did this live sketch of Rosa, who just randomly found me in the... You can just like scroll through people who are live streaming on TikTok. I was like, hey, can I draw you? And I did a 7-minute sketch of Rosa. And it's interesting when it's on TikTok, like it's two parallel vertical, like next to each other, two vertical images. So it doesn't actually fill the whole screen when two people live stream on TikTok, which is, I find a bit odd. But that's just how they do it. That's how it is. But yeah, you can't change the camera direction mid live stream on TikTok, which is a bit limiting, but that's all right. Just gotta find our way through these various platforms, figure out how things work. I think I'm like almost going to be done for tonight. The last thing I will do here is to really redefine some of the dark areas around the eyes, and maybe put another kind of dark wash around the face, but could almost just leave it. But adding more definition and adding some darkness around the eyes and like the line in the mouth, around the nose, and then also the lines on top of the skin from that cyberpunk filter that we have here, that will just having some crisp definition on top of all this watercolor stuff, I think will be a nice kind of way to wrap it up. And I'm super interested to see what you've all been doing. So if you are posting anywhere on social media, you could use the hashtag drawingwithdylan without any lines in it, and follow that hashtag, and you'll be able to see the work that people do when they draw and paint with me. And tag me. I'm at Dylan Sara Draws on TikTok and at Dylan_Sara on Instagram, and I would love to see what you've done. So if you're sharing, then do that. Yeah? Cool. Okay, Roseanne's first time layering in watercolor and just showing us on Zoom. Nice. And how do you like the experience? Nerve-wracking. Yeah. Yeah. Nerve-wracking. That is a really good adjective for this process. Like, it was interesting that I 10 years ago started working with watercolor, and then kind of left it for a long time, and this month has been the most I've used watercolor in a long time. Oh, Jen, awesome. That looks really cool in your little sketchbook there. Can you hold it down a bit? Because I guess you've got two cameras? Yeah. Oh, awesome. That looks cool. There's a little bit of show and tell happening on Zoom at the moment. People sharing their work. Very cool. Okay. Something I've been doing this month is using a super saturated color like cadmium red or a deep blue to do line work, which has been fun. And depending on what area of the painting it is, different things are kind of appropriate. And I wonder now, maybe this, I don't know, it might just go horribly wrong because it doesn't exist anywhere else in this painting, I think, but I'm just wondering about using like a really intense red to do some line work in here. I really like line work, and for a long time I felt like I was cheating if I put line work into my paintings, but I think I've totally embraced the play of line and ink wash or watercolor, and I've seen other artists doing it fearlessly. I'm like, oh wow. I don't know, if I had this idea that you're not allowed to, if you're painting, you can't just do line work on it, but why not? So this is a way smaller, finer brush than everything else I've been using so far. It's like a number 1 rigger, which I've been using the past month for doing this detail kind of stuff. It's nice for stubble and facial hair. And it's really nice for line work. Oh, this looks so amazing when it's wet. Like the red, it's just so vibrant, and then it just kind of absorbs and fades and loses that incredible saturation. So I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but what I'm seeing right now is this really amazing red sitting on top of these grey blue colors. Looks so cool. And it'll probably just disappear. I think that's a nice thing, especially with like natural inks that I make. They sometimes they're not light fast, so coming to terms with the impermanence of things and just enjoying the process, and just kind of noticing those kind of moments in the painting where it's like, oh wow, right now, in this second, that looks so amazing. Like, it's just nice to be able to enjoy the process like that. I remember when I started with watercolor paints, just watching the pigment drip into water. Just like, wow, that looks so much cooler than anything I can paint. And it's just so ephemeral because it just dissolves into the water and it's gone. Blood nose. What brand is this brush? This is Winsor and Newton, whoops, which is an English brand, but I think I actually got it in New York. And most of my other brushes that I've been using are from a brand called Da Vinci synthetic watercolor brushes. And I bought this 4-brush set when I started painting 11 years ago, and I'm still using them, and they're still really cool. I also use them for natural inks as well as watercolor. And that's nice about watercolor and ink compared to oil. Like the lifespan of the brushes is, it's nice. Maybe there's a way to take care of your oil brushes so they also last that long, but mine have kind of suffered. So how's everyone doing? You feel like you're nearly there? You're finished? Has this of the paper's coming apart? Oh no. Yeah. Do you ever use anything to dry the paper in between? No. I used to really not want to. I would just walk away, do something else for a while, come back, or put it in the sun, or just let it dry naturally. But I did a few live streams where I was just like, things got so blurry and wet, and yeah, the paper falling apart and stuff, and someone's like, why don't you just use a hairdryer? It's like, oh, I had this kind of idea that I didn't want to, but it's actually super practical. But if you have the luxury of time, then I think it's really nice to let it dry. Also, the way that the colors interact with each other is so different if you just let it dry instead of like blasting it with hot air. Sometimes, because you're not like pushing the paint around the paper. Okay, I can still see so much to do, but this has been an hour and a half of painting so far, so I kind of want to wrap things up a bit. Say just said on TikTok that I'm sure everyone is doing great in your Zoom. Happy they're drawing with you. Yeah, it's really wonderful having you all here. Jana's going to go have lunch and finish later. Hi, Rick. Rick is an amazing muse on the museum app, and is also on Instagram and TikTok. Really nice having you here. Thank you, Rick. So yeah, Rick Niece on TikTok and Rick the Muse on Instagram. Just a wonderful person and muse. This is really different than everything I've had on here so far, but for these lines I just decided to dip into this green that I have on my palette. Which could be interesting because that color does not exist on this portrait yet. And it's in the reference, it's like something really obviously unnatural. So it's interesting to take a color which has not been used yet. Kiki Young just said, so happy could watch you all day. Thank you so much. You can go binge watch my YouTube videos if you want. There aren't that many of them yet, but there are a few. Yeah, and I did in 2020, every week I did a sketchy live stream with natural inks. That was fun. So still maybe like another 10 minutes in this, but I feel like I'm drawing to a close, so I'd just like to re-invite everyone to come sketch with us on Tuesdays at the Zoom link, which is always in my bio and description, and for those of you who found your way to the Zoom room today, you're welcome to come back on Tuesday. It's so different than what we're doing right now because it's really fast paced. It can get pretty raucous, people telling stories, and it's a really fun social way to practice portrait sketching. But you don't have to be social if you don't want to. That's totally valid, and you're welcome just to sit and draw and listen to the banter, or turn the sound off and listen to an audiobook. Do whatever you want. It's my vision is to be a safe and welcoming space where people can come draw and just do what they want. And it's just really nice to be in contact with people. And now that we've been doing it for 2 years, some people come once, some people have come nearly every Tuesday for 2 years. Some people come every couple months. You can just do what you want. And it's a donation based, so it's like €5 or pay what you want, whatever you feel, pay what you want / can. I would like it to have as many people come and sketch as us as they want to. Oh, that's cool. I like these green lines. All right. I'd like to darken the edge around the face. Oh, I haven't taken any work in progress shots for a while. I guess it's kind of late for that now. But maybe put another darker layer over the hair. At the moment it's super vibrant. Could also put a layer which will kind of mute some of those colors a bit, but you could also just leave it super vibrant as well. It's also cool. But it can be interesting to have some really bright colors underneath, and then to do a layer, a wash over the top, which kind of can, what am I saying, to mute those colors a bit. But mainly I just want the value structure to be right, so just to have something dark surrounding the face to be a border. I do have hiding in the corner of my palette over here this black, which I don't use it pure, but if I really want to darken up another color, like you can mix colors to get your blacks, but it can really intensify. So this is like a really nice, it's almost like a dark indigo color, like mixing a couple of blues, this violet color over here, a bit red, and this black color, so that that's cool. So here's that black, and then over here there's some blue. Put that over here, and this cool dark red, purpley color. This brush is nice because it can hold so much pigment, and you can actually also get it down to quite a fine tip, which is really cool. Goodbye, Silash. Cam, this is looking insane. Thank you. What a disaster, Cam. Yeah, it's fun. For me, portraiture just never gets old. Like every face is different, and especially like with watercolor this month, using a medium which I haven't used much for a long time, it's just like so much fun. Like this is the most saturated, the most colorful any of my paintings have been for years, which has been enjoyable, but I'm also really looking forward to getting back to more natural inks. I'm nearly done for today. How's everyone else doing? And yeah, anyone who's on TikTok, you'll be able to watch the recording of this on my YouTube channel. For those who didn't catch that in the beginning, today, crazily, for the first time ever, I am over here on TikTok streaming with you. I'm also streaming on YouTube, and I have a Zoom room open where people are painting along live. So if anyone wants to see the full process of this, it's been lengthy, but on YouTube you can speed up the playback, watch it at twice the speed if you want, or just jump around. Yeah, go check it out on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all of those things that you do on all the different platforms. And I look forward to doing more live painting and sharing with you in future. Thank you to all those focused faces over on Zoom who've kept me company throughout this portrait session. How's it been for you? Most of you are muted at the moment. Cool. My pleasure. Thank you for being part of this. I really love the live experience of being together with people, like actually doing something together. And live streams are really awesome, but I've always felt like compared to hanging out in Zoom and drawing together, it's just such a different experience. And I've enjoyed live streaming as well, but I always felt like there's just such a different feeling to have people like in the room, pretty much, to be here together, to be doing it together. And in live stream, sometimes people are painting along as well, and that's awesome. But yeah, I feel like it's a revelation, a new way of live streaming, to actually have people over here in Zoom as well. There are things I could keep doing, but I think that's about it for today. This has almost been going for 2 hours. I think it's the longest live stream I've ever done. It's longer than any of the sketchy classes I've ever taught. Rosalind sent me a corgi on TikTok. Thank you for the corgi. Yeah, and thank you to everyone who joined this. I hope it stays in focus, but I'll lift this up a bit closer to the camera. If you're on TikTok or YouTube, you'll be able to see this a bit closer. Yeah, hit the likes, send some love hearts, and the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. I would love you to subscribe and comment. That's always nice. And if you're super keen to keep learning from me and supporting my work, you can check out my Patreon account, which is in the link in my bio. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee, that's also in my link tree. And if not, that's totally fine. I just totally appreciate you being here and sharing time with me and creating with me. It's been super fun. Sara says, if anyone on Zoom drew the picture too, that she'd love to see the painting, and you can feel free to text Sara. So on TikTok, it's like I've written all over the place, Sara. And if you're on Instagram, then you'll see in the post I did inviting people to come and paint with me. I've got Sara tagged there as well. It's Sara Arts. So yeah, everyone tag me and tag Sara, and you can use the hashtag drawingwithdylan. If you share it to your stories after doing this, I will share it to my stories too. You can tag me in the story, and then I can instantly share it in my stories too. Thank you, Cam and Sara. I'm glad you like it. And over on YouTube too. Thanks for the love hearts, Jade. And thank you to all of the busy, focused painters over in Zoom. It's been really cool having you here painting with me. Awesome, my pleasure. There'll be more of these, so keep your senses open to future opportunities to hang out and paint together. And yeah, every Tuesday, 7:30 German time, and the first Friday of every month, we meet and do quick live sketches together. So I would this is a bit odd, but over here, haha, that looks cool. On TikTok, I can't flip my cameras, but I can pick this up. Wow, that looks really weird over on the YouTube thing if everyone's looking at that. That it's like a double face of me. But thank you very much for joining my live. It's been a lot of fun, and see you next time, or you'll see me next time. If you want me to see you next time, then join the Zoom room and come hang out with us in Zoom. There are some people in Zoom. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day, and see you soon. Cool. Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great week. Maybe see you on Tuesday. My pleasure. Goodbye.